There is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. There is no one to become. These words appear simple, yet they strike at the very foundation of what we believe ourselves to be. From the moment we awaken in the morning, the mind begins its ceaseless activity, doing, becoming, seeking, achieving. But Robert Adams whispers from beyond the noise, "Stop. There is nothing to do." The freedom you long for is not hidden in action, nor buried in some distant achievement. It is already here, before the thought of doing ever arises. We have spent lifetimes building an identity, a sense of self we call me. We have filled it with memories, hopes, fears, ambitions, and regrets. We defend it, polish it, and suffer for it. Yet all the while, it is only a mirage. The more we try to improve it, the more real it seems. The more we seek to purify the self, the stronger the illusion becomes. Robert Adams saw through this. He knew that the path of becoming is endless because it begins with a lie, the lie that there is someone to become. The mind cannot comprehend such simplicity. It believes that spiritual awakening must be difficult, that it must be earned, that one must climb mountains of practice and cross deserts of discipline. Yet the truth requires none of that. It simply requires the recognition that you already are what you seek. The peace you long for has never left. The silence you try to attain is the very ground of your being. You have been chasing your own shadow, believing it to be the light. You have been searching for water while standing in the ocean. What is sought is the seeker himself. What you call enlightenment is merely the ending of the search. The mind says, "I will find peace one day." But that day never comes, because the one who searches is the disturbance itself. When you stop seeking, peace reveals itself not as an achievement, but as what has always been present. Robert Adams spoke not to give knowledge but to remove it. He didn't teach methods. He didn't offer philosophies. He simply pointed to what is beyond all ideas. He would sit in silence and smile, for he knew that words are only echoes of truth, and silence is the truth itself. He said, "You already are. There is no journey. There is only the recognition of what has always been here." The mind, however, rebels. It insists on effort, on direction, on becoming something greater. It wants to attain enlightenment as it once sought wealth, status, and love. But all these desires belong to the same restless current. They move outward, away from the stillness within. The mind fears stillness because it cannot exist there. Yet the moment you stop identifying with thought, the mind loses its grip. What remains is not blankness, but aliveness, infinite, radiant, unbound. This is why Robert Adams said, "The search is the obstacle. As long as you search, you affirm the absence of what you already have. As long as you practice to become complete, you confirm your incompleteness. The wheel of becoming turns endlessly until you step off and simply rest. When you no longer insist on controlling your awakening, the truth begins to reveal itself in its own time, in its own effortless way. There is nothing to reach because you are never separate from the goal. You are the goal. You are the awareness in which all striving appears. Freedom is not a future event. It is the nature of now. The more you try to grasp it, the more it slips through your fingers. But when you surrender the grasping, you discover that it was never apart from you. You do not attain liberation, you recognize that you were never bound. Robert Adams often said, "You are not the body. You are not the mind. You are not even the witness. You are that which witnesses the witness." These are not words to be analyzed. They are invitations to see directly. You are not a person observing life. You are life itself. You are not an entity that has awareness. You are awareness, infinite and still. The body arises in you. The world arises in you. Thoughts, emotions, and sensations dance across the screen of your consciousness, but you remain untouched. You are the unmoving background, the eternal witness of all that comes and goes. The world believes that happiness lies in movement, in change, in progress, in becoming something more. But in truth, the greatest peace is found in absolute stillness. Not the stillness of inactivity, but the stillness of being what you are, before thought defines you. That stillness is not something you must create. It is what remains when you cease to struggle against what is. Imagine a wave in the ocean that suddenly realizes it has never been separate from the sea. Its rise and fall, its birth and death, are but movements of the same water. The wave does not need to merge with the ocean. It was never apart. So it is with you. You were never apart from consciousness. You have only imagined yourself as a separate being, seeking reunion with what was never lost. Robert Adams often reminded his students, "Be quiet, just be." These two words contain the essence of all teachings. To be quiet does not mean to suppress thought or emotion. It means to cease identifying with them. When you are no longer caught in the story of me, silence dawns naturally. In that silence, everything becomes clear. You see that all doing was unnecessary, that every attempt to control life was born from illusion. What you called problems dissolve in the light of simple being. Many people fear that such silence will lead to emptiness or detachment from life. Yet it is the opposite. When you stop trying to manipulate existence, life begins to flow freely through you. You discover a natural kindness, a compassion that is not forced. You act, but there is no actor. You love, but there is no lover. Everything happens spontaneously, without the interference of the ego. This is true freedom, the freedom from the burden of I. The mind, however, is subtle. It turns even spirituality into a project. It reads about the self, about awareness, about awakening, and immediately asks, "How do I get there?" But there is no there. The very idea of a destination implies distance, and distance exists only in thought. You cannot travel to what you already are. The moment you stop searching, you find yourself home. Robert Adams would sometimes tell the story of a man who dreamed he was in prison. Desperate to escape, he spent years digging tunnels, breaking locks, planning his freedom. Finally, exhausted, he fell asleep again inside the dream and awoke, only to realize there was never a prison. The walls were imagined. So it is with you. The cage of the self is a dream. When you awaken, you see there was never a separate you to be freed. This awakening is not an experience. Experiences come and go, but what you are never comes or goes. If you can experience it, it is not you. The real you cannot be seen or described because it is the seeing itself. The eye cannot see itself, but without it, nothing can be seen. You are that invisible awareness, self-luminous, ever-present, unchanging. When you hear these words, do not try to understand them intellectually. Simply allow them to sink beneath the mind. Understanding will arise on its own, not as thought but as recognition. You may suddenly notice that the space in which thoughts appear has never changed. It has been present through every joy and sorrow, through every success and failure. That space is what you are. It is untouched by time, untouched by birth or death. It is pure being. The world will continue as it always has. The body will act, emotions will arise, thoughts will appear. But you will know that none of these define you. You are the sky, not the clouds. The clouds come and go, yet the sky remains vast and serene. When you know yourself as the sky, you no longer fear the storms. You simply allow everything to pass, resting as the open space that holds it all. This is not detachment from life, it is intimacy with all of it. When you no longer stand apart, the heart opens naturally. Love is revealed not as emotion but as the very essence of being. You look upon all things with quiet wonder, knowing that they are yourself appearing in countless forms. There is no need to judge, no need to change, no need to grasp. Everything is perfect in its unfolding because there is no separate will opposing life. Robert Adams often said, "Accept everything, resist nothing." Resistance belongs to the false self. When you let it fall, peace flowers effortlessly. Life continues, but it no longer weighs upon you. Suffering loses its power because the sufferer has vanished. In its place is a vast silence, not a cold void, but a luminous fullness. From this silence flows compassion, joy, simplicity. You discover the ease of being no one. So what is left to do? Nothing, absolutely nothing. Let the words fall away. Let the concepts fade. Let the mind rest. There is nothing to add to this moment, nothing to remove. You are already whole. You are already home. The teaching of Robert Adams is not a path but a gentle undoing. He does not lead you somewhere new. He removes what was never real. What remains is peace beyond understanding. A peace that has always been, waiting for you to stop running. And when the mind rises again, as it will, whispering, "I must understand this, I must attain this," simply smile. Recognize it as another ripple on the surface of silence. You do not need to push it away. Just notice that even this thought arises in you, and you remain unchanged. The awareness that sees the thought is never disturbed by it. That awareness is your true self. Eventually, the realization deepens that even awakening is just another concept. There was never a moment when you were not awake. Only a dream of sleep, a story of ignorance. The truth of who you are does not need to awaken. It is awareness itself. You were never lost. You only imagined yourself to be it in the end. Robert Adams gave no promises, no secret knowledge, no future reward. He simply said, "Be still and know." To be still is to cease becoming. To know is not to think, but to recognize directly. When all ideas about yourself dissolve, what remains is peace, boundless and effortless. This is the freedom that appears when you stop seeking. Not because it arrives, but because it was never absent. So rest now. Let everything be as it is. The body breathes, the heart beats, the world moves, and you, the silent witness, remain. There is nothing to fix, nothing to attain, nothing to become. There is only this pure consciousness, timeless, formless, radiant. You are that. You have always been that. You will always be that. And this realization, simple and immediate, is the end of all seeking. There is nothing to do. There is nowhere to go. There is no one to become. You already are. You are freedom itself.